The Nanny by Lana Ferguson was a book that was on the edges of my radar, but I wasn't planning on reading until Kristen from the podcast recommended it to me. And really, I wasn't planning to like it as much as I thought. I typically am not the biggest fan of boss employee. I find a lot of problematic nanny single dad romances. Now, y'all, this one changed my mind. So if this one exists, I believe that there's more out there. So if you have one that also would change my mind, please send it my way. Here's the reason this one changed my mind. The power dynamics in their relationship are not what you would expect. There is a shared history between the two of them that throws the typical boss employee out the window. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the situation they then find them in from having this shared history into the absolute steamboat of a relationship that they develop. And it is. It's so steamy in the best kind of way, in a really communicative way, in a really fun way. I thought, just kind of based on this scenario, that there would be a lot more awkward tension, things of that nature, and they push through them really fast. So as someone like me who can't handle the awkward, I appreciated that. Lana, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my soul. I really enjoyed this book. I think that the ways that they express themselves sexually is really, really fun and really, really freeing. There's a lot of communication that happens around sexual desires to a partner, from a partner, things of that nature. This is what I like, this is what I don't, this is what I need. And so often that is neglected or isn't given as much due as I think it should. So I really, that was like, what a tasty treat in this book for me. I already have the fake mate from the library. I've already gotten it, and I cannot wait to delve into that next. The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen by KJ Charles is a really solid book. I don't mean that in a bad way. The plot is good, the twists and turns are fun, the story is compelling, the detail of the world is really well done. It just doesn't always feel like a romance novel to me. Here's why. The spice is so lightly described, I almost wish it were a closed door. This is my personal opinion. Like, closed door spice is fine. You don't want to write it. You don't feel like you can do it justice. I get that. I respect it. But when it takes you a paragraph of 5 sentences to describe a blowjob from start to finish, that annoys me. Like, why did you even do it? Why did you bother putting it in there if it's going to be one of the least described things in your book? Now, there are lots of lovely quips around the intimate moments, but I feel like if you're going to have intimacy, you should do it the same service that you do everything else. After that, like, blowjob I just described, there's one of my favorite lines in the book, which is, whoa, goodness, where is it? He didn't mind swallowing, but you need to sluice your mouth out. It's a great line. It's a great, great line. But I just wish that I felt, anyway. So in terms of this book, if you're looking for something that's really light spice, if you're looking for something that is, not terribly smutty, this is a great book for you. It is if that's not your thing, don't worry about it. It's my thing. It's a thing that I like very much. But other than my frustration with like how lightly the spice was described, this book is great. And I know KJ Charles has other books out there. It might take me a while because that lack of spice upset me. But considering how much I like the actual story, I'd be willing to give them another shot. Winter's Arrow. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter review because, teaser, I am going to be going to Trigger Warning Romance to talk about this book in a few weeks. And I want to make sure that Trigger Warning gets all of my good ideas, all of my good sound bites. And if you don't follow them or don't know what they are, I'll let you know when that episode is airing. And so you can hear my full thoughts on Winter's Arrow. Here's what I'm going to say. It is paranormal Omegaverse retelling of Snow White. I love paranormal. I am realizing that this term Omegaverse applies to a lot of things that I have read, and so delving into Omegaverse is not doesn't feel new and doesn't feel scary to me. And I love especially like a fairy tale Disney princess retelling. Those are just so tasty to me. There's a lot of spice. And if you're not familiar with the kind of hormonal situations that arise in Omegaverse that can feel really dark or feel very Dubcon like, um, this book might not be for you. The Lexi Foss does such a good job with her trigger warnings and how they announce how it just got written from Kazak's point of view, the male wolf in this world. That it's either going to be your shopping list or it's going to make you say no thank you. So that's all I'm going to say about Winter Zero. I do have my ratings right there, so you know kind of where it stands amongst other things. And if you go to my Instagram, I've got the post with my favorite quotes already there. A Bump in Boohail by Kimberly Lemming is the next novella. It's, I think, 2.5 in her series so far. And it's not bad. It's real short. It's a you could read it in the bath and not get pruny kind of short. So if you're looking for a little quick something something, there's only one major scene, so in terms of spice percentage, it is heavily spiced. But here's where I got a little sad. In every single book that I've read, both 1 and 2 and in the previous Missile Foe, the previous novella, there's story and there's passion and there's a relationship that's really building and developing and growing, and I just like makes me so happy. It also interweaves really well with the story. And this one felt like a Christmas episode, except it was like Boohail, which is I think like Halloween. So if you're looking for something that's really standalone and doesn't necessarily affect the plot in any way, shape, or form of the greater world, this is for you. Because it's the first of its kind, I was a little thrown and a little disappointed. I wanted to meet another character like Alexis, like we did in Missile Foe, and then have that character come back in the third book, which is over there. It's over there, and I really want to read it. I really want to read it right now. Why are there so many books to read? But it was just a nice little jolt to get Kimberly Lemming back into my week and to come back to Fallon and Cinnamon. They're just two great characters. They're really sexy, really spicy. If you're someone who likes some grip strength, this one is for you. Hate to Want You. I finally figured out where this book came from in terms of my TBR and recommendations. I was looking up BIPOC authors, and this book came highly recommended on one of the lists that I found. Alisha Ray, ooh, please let me know how I'm supposed to say that, is an author that's been writing for, I'd say, at least half a decade, because this book was in 2017, and I have a book on my shelf that I bought from Book Outlet by her, because I cannot be controlled. But Hate to Want You, it's also very different than that book that I had bought, and so I almost didn't connect the two. It's stylistically different, size-wise. It's one of those pocketbooks as opposed to a big old paperback like everything else on that shelf. But Hate to Want You, man, it is an angsty book. It is full of angst and spice. So it's these childhood sweethearts who, because of circumstances with their family, are forced to break up. And every year, and then the girl, Livy, runs away. And every year on her birthday, she texts her love interest the coordinates of where she is, and they meet up for a night of banging and go about their separate lives. And that's it. That's like Nico just drops everything that he has, runs to bang her, and then comes back. And then she ends up back in town because her mom, doesn't matter why, and the two of them are basically just incapable of staying away from each other. And it is really spicy, but really beautiful to watch them overcome this real circumstance. It isn't a misunderstanding. It isn't something light or silly that drove them apart. There are real things here. But watching them come together and overcome not only the circumstances outside of the two of them, but also their own inner stuff is really lovely. It's also really spicy. really, really spicy. So enjoy that. Oh, y'all. A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem by Manda is a fine book. It's fine. The plot is decent. There's a mystery, there's murder, there's and that's good. This is another one of those books that is a good book, but I think not a great romance. Often in these historical fiction or historical romance novels, you get a lot of longing, you get banter, you get back and forth. And no offense to them, but they come together really quickly. And so it and it's not in depth described. It's another one of those very light on the intimate description moments. So I almost didn't feel like they'd earned the right to be together at all. One thing that I really enjoyed is typically in these historical fiction or historical romance novels, the woman is a virgin. I'm just putting it out there. She is virgin and she's looking for her match. And in this case, she is a widow. And that adds its own nuance to the situation in terms of her experience, in terms of the expectations of society, and gives her a little bit more freedom to pursue this relationship. So that might have been why there wasn't as much tension and back and forth, because there didn't need to be. There wasn't this, oh no, I'm going to be ruined for all future husbands. There was this sense of freedom for her. I'm really excited. I know one of the other books in this series is between two characters that are really antagonistic towards one another, and I feel like that's an enemies to lovers, and there might be more of that push and pull and want and need that I was really looking for in this book. If you're someone who likes a murder mystery, if you're someone who likes a house party murder mystery, this book is great. There's nothing wrong with the writing of this book at all. It just didn't do it in the romance for me.